Zak Starkey. The name carries weight. Born into a family with a rich musical heritage, Zak was destined for greatness. His father, Ringo Starr, was the legendary drummer of the Beatles, a band that revolutionized music in the 1960s. Growing up in such an environment, Zak was surrounded by the sounds of rock and roll from an early age. But despite the immense shadow cast by his father's legacy, Zak was determined to forge his own path in the world of music. The legacy of his father, Ringo Starr, precedes him. Ringo's influence on Zak was undeniable, but Zak's journey was uniquely his own. He began playing drums at a young age, honing his skills and developing a style that was distinct from his father's. While Ringo was known for his steady, reliable beats, Zak's drumming was characterized by its energy and intensity. He wasn't just following in his father's footsteps, he was creating his own musical identity. But Zak carved his own path. He played with various bands, each experience adding to his repertoire and shaping his unique sound. His big break came when he joined The Who, one of the most iconic rock bands of all time. This was no small feat, as he was stepping into the shoes of the legendary Keith Moon, whose drumming was a cornerstone of The Who's sound. He became a drumming powerhouse. His talent was undeniable. Zak's drumming brought a new energy to The Who, revitalizing their sound and helping them continue their legacy. His powerful beats and dynamic style were a perfect fit for the band's high-energy performances. Zak wasn't just a replacement for Keith Moon, he was a new force that helped propel The Who into the future, and for years he held the beat for The Who. His drumming was the backbone of their live performances, driving the band's sound and keeping the audience on their feet. Zak's contributions to The Who were immense, and his presence on stage was electrifying. He wasn't just a drummer, he was a performer who brought his own unique flair to every show. Starky first joined The Who in 1996. This was a pivotal moment for both Zak and the band. The Who had been through a lot of changes over the years, and Zak's arrival marked a new chapter in their history. His drumming brought a fresh energy to the band, helping them to continue their legacy and connect with a new generation of fans. He filled a void left by the legendary Keith Moon. Moon's drumming was wild and unpredictable, a perfect match for The Who's explosive sound. Replacing him was no easy task, but Zak rose to the challenge. He brought his own style to the band, honoring Moon's legacy while also making his own mark. Zak's drumming was powerful and precise, a perfect complement to The Who's music. It was no easy feat. The pressure was immense, but Zak handled it with grace and skill. He didn't try to imitate Moon. Instead, he brought his own unique style to the band. His drumming was a blend of power and precision, a perfect match for The Who's music. Zak's contributions to the band were immense, and his presence on stage was electrifying. Yet, Starkey brought his own energy. His drumming was a force of nature, driving the band's sound and keeping the audience on their feet. Zak's performances were a highlight of The Who's live shows, and his energy was infectious. He wasn't just a drummer. He was a performer who brought his own unique flair to every show. His power, his style, he earned his place. Zak's drumming was a perfect fit for The Who, and his contributions to the band were immense. He wasn't just a replacement for Keith Moon, he was a new force that helped propel The Who into the future. Zak's drumming was powerful and precise, a perfect complement to The Who's music. He became a part of their legacy. Zak's drumming was an integral part of The Who's sound, and his contributions to the band were immense. He wasn't just a drummer, he was a performer who brought his own unique flair to every show. Zak's presence on stage was electrifying, and his drumming was a perfect fit for The Who's music. His tenure wasn't always smooth. Like any long-term relationship, there were ups and downs. The pressures of being in a legendary band, the constant touring, and the personal dynamics all took their toll. But through it all, Zak remained dedicated to his craft and to the band. His commitment to The Who was unwavering, even in the face of challenges. He left the band in 2008. This was a difficult decision for Zak, but it was a necessary one. The pressures of being in a legendary band, the constant touring, and the personal dynamics all took their toll. But even after leaving The Who, Zak continued to make music, playing with other bands and continuing to hone his craft. He later rejoined in 2012. This was a triumphant return for Zak, and his drumming brought a new energy to the band. His powerful beats and dynamic style were a perfect fit for The Who's high-energy performances. Zak's contributions to The Who were immense, and his presence on stage was electrifying. Through it all, one thing was clear. Starkey's drumming was powerful. His beats were the backbone of The Who's sound, driving the band's music and keeping the audience on their feet. Zak's drumming was a force of nature, and his contributions to The Who were immense. He wasn't just a drummer, he was a performer who brought his own unique flair to every show. It was essential to The Who's sound. Zak's drumming was a perfect fit for the band's music, and his contributions were immense. He wasn't just a replacement for Keith Moon. He was a new force that helped propel The Who into the future. Zak's drumming was powerful and precise, a perfect complement to The Who's music. So when news broke of his departure in 2025, the world of rock was shaken. What happened? The news came as a shock to fans and the music industry alike. Zak's drumming had been an integral part of The Who's sound for years, and his departure left a void that would be difficult to fill. The reasons for his departure were not immediately clear, and speculation ran rampant. The answer, it seems, lies buried beneath layers of public statements and private turmoil. The pressures of being in a legendary band, the constant touring, and the personal dynamics all took their toll. But through it all, Zak remained dedicated to his craft and to the band. His commitment to The Who was unwavering, even in the face of challenges. As the dust settles, one thing is clear. Zak Starkey's contributions to The Who will never be forgotten. His drumming was a force of nature, and his legacy will live on in the music he helped create. The news hit the internet like a rogue snare drum. It was sudden, unexpected, and left everyone in a state of shock. Social media platforms were instantly flooded with reactions, comments, and speculations. Fans and followers of The Who couldn't believe what they were reading. The announcement was cryptic, leaving much to the imagination and sparking a wildfire of rumors and theories. Pete Townshend, The Who's ever-present guitarist, took to Instagram. His message was short, it was vague. The post featured a black-and-white photo of Townshend, looking contemplative, with a caption that read, "A new chapter begins. Thank you, Zak. More to come." The simplicity of the message only added to the mystery. What did this new chapter entail? And why was Zak Starkey, the band's drummer, being singled out? It spoke of a change in direction for the band. Townshend wished Starkey well. The farewell seemed amicable, but the lack of detail left fans uneasy. Was this a sign of internal conflict, or was it simply a natural progression for the band? The Who had always been known for their dynamic and sometimes tumultuous relationships, and this announcement seemed to fit that narrative. He hinted at new projects, but something felt off. The tone was polite, almost too polite. It was as if Townshend was holding back, not revealing the full story. Fans speculated about what these new projects could be. A solo album? A collaboration with other artists? Or perhaps a completely new direction for The Who? The possibilities were endless, but the lack of concrete information left everyone guessing. It lacked the raw energy that defined The Who. The band's music had always been characterized by its intensity and passion, and this announcement felt strangely subdued. It was a stark contrast to the electrifying performances that fans had come to expect from The Who. The announcement felt more like a formality than a genuine communication from the heart. Fans were left with more questions than answers. What was this change? The ambiguity of the announcement only fueled the speculation. Was this the end of an era for The Who? Or was it the beginning of something entirely new and unexpected? The uncertainty was palpable, and fans were desperate for more information. And why was it happening now? The timing of the announcement was curious. The band had recently completed a successful tour, and there had been no prior indications of any major changes. The suddenness of the announcement left fans and industry insiders alike scrambling for answers. Was there a deeper reason behind the timing? Or was it simply a case of the band evolving and moving forward? The statement felt like a carefully crafted press release. It lacked heart. It lacked the truth. It was as if the real story was being hidden behind a veil of politeness and formality. Fans were left to read between the lines, searching for any hint of the true motivations behind the announcement. The lack of transparency only added to the sense of unease and confusion. And soon, the silence would be broken. The anticipation was building, and everyone was waiting for the next piece of the puzzle to be revealed. What would Townshend say next? How would the rest of the band respond? The world was watching, and the next move would be crucial in shaping the future of The Who. The stage was set for a dramatic unfolding of events, and fans were on the edge of their seats, eager to see what would happen next. Silence can be deafening. In the world of rock and roll, silence often speaks louder than words. It can be a powerful statement, a void filled with speculation, rumors, and assumptions. For Zak Starkey, the silence surrounding his departure from The Who was a heavy burden, one that he could no longer bear. The whispers and the gossip had grown too loud, and it was time for him to break his silence and set the record straight. But Zak Starkey wouldn't stay silent. He knew that the truth needed to be heard, not just for his sake, but for the fans who had supported him and the band for so many years. The fans deserved to know what really happened, and Zak was determined to tell his side of the story, no matter the consequences. He refuted Townshend's carefully crafted words. Pete Townshend, the legendary guitarist of The Who, had painted a picture of mutual agreement and amicable separation. But Zak knew that this was far from the truth. He couldn't stand by and let a false narrative take root. He had to speak up, even if it meant going against one of rock's most iconic figures. In his own statement, Starkey dropped a bombshell. He hadn't quit. He had been fired. The revelation sent shockwaves through the music community. Fans and critics alike were stunned. How could this happen? Why would The Who let go of such a talented drummer, someone who had been with them through thick and thin? He claimed The Who asked him to lie. They wanted him to say he quit. The band, according to Zak, had orchestrated a cover-up to protect their image. They wanted to avoid the backlash that would come with firing a beloved member. But Zak wasn't willing to play along. He wasn't going to be a part of their deception. They wanted him to say he quit. The pressure was immense. The band members, people he had considered friends, were now asking him to compromise his integrity. It was a difficult position to be in, but Zak knew that he had to stay true to himself. He couldn't let them manipulate the truth for their own benefit. Why? Perhaps to save face. The Who had a reputation to uphold. They were legends in the music world, and any hint of internal conflict could tarnish their legacy. By making it seem like Zak had left on his own terms, they could avoid the negative press and maintain their image as a united front, maybe to control the narrative. In the world of rock and roll, perception is everything. The story that gets told can shape public opinion and influence the band's future. By controlling the narrative, The Who could steer the conversation in their favor and minimize any potential damage. Whatever their reasons, Starkey refused. He wouldn't be a pawn in their game. He had his own story to tell, and he wasn't going to let anyone silence him. His decision to speak out was a bold move, one that took courage and conviction. It was a stand for truth and integrity in a world where those values are often compromised. He wouldn't be a pawn in their game. The stakes were high, but Zak was unwavering. He knew that his decision would have consequences, but he was prepared to face them. He had to be true to himself, no matter the cost. His words were filled with a mix of emotions, disappointment, anger, even a hint of sadness. He loved The Who. The band had been a significant part of his life, and the thought of leaving them was heartbreaking. But the way things had unfolded left him with no choice. He had to stand up for what he believed in, even a hint of sadness. He loved The Who. He would never willingly leave them. The bond he shared with the band and the fans was something he cherished deeply. But sometimes, standing up for the truth means making difficult decisions, even if it means walking away from something you love. He would never willingly leave them. The memories they created together, the music they made, and the moments they shared on stage were irreplaceable. But the truth was out there now, raw and exposed. There was no turning back. But the truth was out there now, raw and exposed. Zak Starkey had taken a stand, and in doing so, he had revealed the complexities and challenges that come with being a part of a legendary band. His story was a reminder that even in the world of rock and roll, where the music is loud and the lights are bright, the truth still matters. The music industry thrives on rumors. Whispers travel fast. In the wake of Starkey's revelation, stories emerged. Tales of creative differences, rumors of tension within the band. Sources close to The Who hinted at weeks of uncertainty. Starkey was in, he was out. The situation was fluid, unstable. It seemed the band was on shaky ground. What went wrong? Was it a clash of egos? A difference in musical vision? The details remain murky. One thing is clear. Something poisoned the well. The music, once a source of unity, had become a battleground. The timing of Starkey's departure was peculiar. The Who had just announced their farewell tour. The news sent shockwaves through the music world. This was it, the final bow. Fans were ecstatic. They snatched up tickets. They yearned for one last chance to hear those iconic songs live. But now a shadow hung over the tour. Starkey's absence would be felt. Could The Who capture the same magic without him? The question lingered. The band had a legacy to uphold. they had a responsibility to their fans.